Chosen one, they can't stop running their mouths because deep down they know you're about to eclipse everything they thought was possible, and they are too afraid to face you. They've become digital stalkers, scrolling through years of your online presence with the dedication of professional investigators. They're screenshotting old posts, analyzing your photos for anything they can twist into evidence of your supposed flaws. They've appointed themselves as judges of your character based on fragments of your life they've stolen from your timeline. The amount of time they're investing in studying your life is staggering. Hours that could be spent improving their own situations are instead devoted to finding flaws in yours. They've become experts on your history while remaining ignorant about their own patterns and behaviors. They can recite your mistakes from memory, but can't acknowledge their own shortcomings. This obsession has consumed them to the point where talking about you has become more important than talking about anything else in their lives. Their conversations revolve around you. Their thoughts circle back to you. You've become the main character in their mental theater, even though you never auditioned for the role. The truth they won't admit, not even to themselves, is that they're terrified of you. Not physically afraid, but spiritually intimidated by the energy you carry. You've developed something they recognize but can't name, an unshakable connection to your purpose that makes their own lives feel small by comparison. You don't even have to say anything to make them uncomfortable. Your presence alone disrupts their comfort zone because you represent possibility they've given up on for themselves. You're living proof that transformation is real, that people can actually change, grow, and step into their power. This reality threatens the excuses they've built their entire identities around. Watch how they behave around you versus how they talk about you behind closed doors. Face to face, they're different people. Awkward, nervous, unable to maintain eye contact for long. They fumble their words, cut conversations short, find reasons to leave early. These are not the actions of people who genuinely believe the stories they're spreading about you. They're the actions of people who know they're in the presence of something they can't touch or diminish, no matter how hard they try. Their body language betrays their true feelings. They cross their arms when you speak. They avoid sitting near you in meetings. They check their phones obsessively when you're around, using technology as a shield against the discomfort your presence creates. They're performing normalcy while internally struggling with feelings they can't process or understand. The things they're saying about you are mostly stale, outdated information from a version of yourself that no longer exists. They're clinging to your past like it's breaking news, completely ignoring the person you've become. They're operating with expired data, trying to define your present reality using ancient history. This is their strategy because they have nothing current to work with. The person you are today gives them no real ammunition. Your current life, your growth, your wisdom, it's all too solid for them to attack directly. So they reach back into time, hoping to find something that sticks. They want people to see you through the lens of who you used to be, because who you are now makes them look foolish. Every day you continue growing, their gossip becomes more obviously irrelevant. Every success you achieve makes their criticism sound more like jealousy than legitimate concern. You've done the work they were too scared to do. You've faced the parts of yourself they're still running from. You've healed wounds they're still nursing. And now they're angry that you're not stuck in the same place they are. The irony is profound. While they're broadcasting your old mistakes, they're still making the same mistakes they made years ago. While they're critiquing your past decisions, they're currently making decisions from the same unconscious patterns they've never examined. They're pointing fingers at your history while repeating their own. Their fixation on your past reveals their own stagnation. People who are actively growing and changing understand that past versions of themselves were necessary steps in their evolution. People who are stuck see the past as permanent, unchangeable, and defining because that's how they experience their own lives. They can't comprehend that you've genuinely transformed, because transformation isn't part of their reality. They're announcing to the world that they don't believe people can change, because they've never experienced real change themselves. What they really want is to see you fail publicly. They fantasize about moments when you'll be exposed, embarrassed, knocked down to their level. They want your reputation destroyed, your confidence shattered, your progress reversed. They've convinced themselves that if they can just gather enough people to their cause, they can make this happen. They want you to feel the shame they carry. They want you to experience the doubt that consumes them. They want you to question yourself the way they question everything about their own lives. In their minds, bringing you down would somehow lift them up. These fantasies consume more of their mental energy than their own goals and dreams. They spend time imagining scenarios where you stumble, where your success crumbles, where you're forced to admit they were right about you all along. They've become addicted to these daydreams because they provide temporary relief from their own feelings of inadequacy. The depth of their investment in your downfall is actually disturbing when you really think about it. They're hoping for another. Human beings suffering with an intensity that would shock them if they were honest about it. They've convinced themselves that your pain would be justice, when really it would just be cruelty. Their fantasy scenarios reveal everything about their character and nothing about yours. They're projecting their own deepest fears onto you, hoping to see you experience what they're most afraid of experiencing themselves. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when the universe says enough. When the divine forces that have been patiently watching these attacks decide it's time to intervene. You're approaching that moment now, if you haven't already reached it. The same people who've been working overtime to damage your reputation are about to discover that their actions have consequences, not because you're seeking revenge, you're too focused on your own growth for that, but because there are spiritual laws at work that they've been violating. They've been warned, maybe not in words, but through circumstances, through small misfortunes, through the increasing ineffectiveness of their campaigns against you. The universe has been sending them signals to stop, and they've ignored every single one. The divine intervention isn't dramatic or supernatural in appearance. It manifests as natural consequences, as the logical results of their choices catch up with them. Their negativity is beginning to repel the very people they're trying to influence. Their obsession with you is making them look unstable to neutral. Observers, people are starting to ask questions. Why are they so fixated on you? Why can't they move on? Why do they seem to know more about your life than their own? The answers to these questions don't reflect well on them, and they're beginning to realize it. The universe operates on principles of energy and attraction. They've been putting out toxic energy consistently, and that energy is starting to return to them in ways they can't ignore or explain away. The following is a message from Mike, founder of the Obsidian Inner Order, powered by Astral Atom. Look, I know you came here for your Chosen One video, but I need a minute. If I don't speak this into the field now, I might never forgive myself. Some of us were born into fire, abused, exiled, haunted by truths no one around us could hold. That doesn't mean we're cursed. It means we were chosen to walk through the veil and come back with the map. Inside the Obsidian Inner Order, we gather every week, live on Zoom, face-to-face. And when I say real people, I mean it. A former military drone operator who now uses his mind as the remote. A millionaire CFO who walked away from everything to become a psychic in Noosa. A spiritual healer once trapped inside a satanic cult. A seer, a sage, a soul who left Mormonism and found the Gnosis instead. These are the ones who gave it all up when their calling hit. And that's just a glimpse. And every call is recorded. So when you're alone, when you're crawling through the dirt of your own awakening, you can press play and feel the field again. This is not for everyone, but maybe it's for you. Can you see yourself among us? Join the Obsidian Inner Order, link in the description. Thank you all for supporting the broadcast. We quite literally could not do this without you. You've developed something they'll never understand, genuine spiritual power, not the kind that needs to announce itself or prove its worth, but the quiet, unshakable knowing that comes from deep inner work. You've connected with your higher self in ways that make their petty attacks feel like raindrops hitting bulletproof glass. This is why they can't face you directly. This is why they operate in shadows and whispers. They sense this power in you, and it makes them feel small and exposed. They recognize that you operate from a level of consciousness they can't reach, let alone challenge. Your intuition has become razor sharp. Your ability to see through facades has grown stronger. Your connection to divine guidance has deepened to the point where you often know things before they happen. These abilities make you impossible to manipulate or deceive, which terrifies people who rely on manipulation and deception to get by. The spiritual power you've cultivated isn't about being superior to others. It's about being sovereign within yourself. You don't need external validation to know your worth. You don't need others' approval to feel confident in your decisions. You don't need consensus to trust your inner knowing. This self-sovereignty is what they find most threatening. In a world where most people are constantly seeking approval and validation from others, you've learned to generate these things from within. You've become emotionally and spiritually self-sufficient in ways that make their attempts at manipulation powerless. Your spiritual development has also given you the ability to see people's true motivations clearly. You can sense the fear behind their anger, the insecurity behind their criticism, the pain behind their attacks. This clarity protects you from taking their words personally because you understand they're really talking about themselves. While they've been busy talking, you've been busy building. While they've been focused on your past, you've been creating your future. While they've been trying to tear you down, you've been climbing higher than they ever imagined possible. Your professional life is transforming in ways that make their gossip seem pathetically irrelevant. Opportunities are flowing toward you with increasing frequency. People who matter, people with real power and influence, are taking notice of your talents and potential. The success you're experiencing isn't luck or coincidence. It's the natural result of the inner work you've done and the alignment you've achieved. The abundance coming your way isn't just financial, though that's part of it. You're experiencing abundance in relationships, in opportunities, in personal fulfillment, in spiritual connection. Your life is becoming rich in ways they can't even comprehend, let alone replicate. Your success is multi-dimensional. You're not just achieving external markers of accomplishment, you're experiencing deep inner satisfaction with your choices and direction. You're aligned with your purpose in ways that make work feel meaningful rather than burdensome. You're attracting relationships that nurture your growth rather than drain your energy. This holistic success is what they find most confusing and threatening. They understand competition for external resources, but they can't comprehend the internal richness you've cultivated. They can see your outer achievements, but they're blind to the inner transformation that made those achievements possible. The momentum behind your success is undeniable now. Each accomplishment creates a foundation for the next one. Each positive relationship opens doors to new opportunities. Each aligned choice strengthens your connection to your path. You're experiencing the compound effect of years of conscious personal development. There's someone from your earlier life who's been watching all of this unfold. Someone you once respected, maybe even looked up to. Someone who held a special place in your heart or mind. They're witnessing your transformation and feeling like a complete fool for the way they treated you. This person wants to reach out, wants to apologize, wants to somehow repair the damage they caused. They're realizing that they had a connection to someone extraordinary, and they threw it away through their own small-mindedness or fear. You probably don't think about them much anymore. Your life has moved forward, filled with new adventures, new connections, new experiences that match your current energy level, but they think about you constantly, wishing they could go back and handle things differently. They're intimidated by who you've become. The person they once knew has transformed into someone they barely recognize. Not because you're fake or different, but because you've grown into the fullest expression of who you were always meant to be. The gap between your spiritual development and theirs has become so vast that even if they apologized, you might not feel the need to engage. You've evolved beyond the need for their validation or approval. Their regret is genuine, but also selfish. They don't just miss you, they miss being close to someone who was clearly destined for greatness. They had access to your energy, your wisdom, your potential, and they squandered it. Now they're watching from the outside as you share those gifts with people who can appreciate them. This person represents a pattern in your life. People who couldn't see your value when they had the chance to benefit from knowing you. They were too caught up in their own limitations to recognize the treasure that was right in front of them. Their loss has become other people's gain. The irony is that their inability to recognize your worth then is exactly why they can't access your energy now. They haven't developed the spiritual sight necessary to perceive value that isn't immediately obvious. They still judge based on surface appearances and social status rather than soul-deep qualities. The work you've done on yourself has elevated you to spiritual levels that most people never reach. You've spent time in solitude, getting comfortable with your own company. You've faced your shadows and integrated your lessons. You've learned to find peace within yourself rather than seeking it from external sources. When you reach this level, you naturally start craving deeper connections with people who can match your energy. Surface-level relationships begin to feel empty and draining. You want conversations that matter, connections that inspire growth, relationships that challenge you to become even better. The people gossiping about you exist far below this level. They're still operating from places of insecurity, comparison, and need. They can't understand your contentment because they've never experienced it themselves. Your spiritual elevation has given you access to resources they don't even know exist. You can tap into inner peace during chaos. You can find clarity in confusion. You can maintain hope during difficulty. You can generate love even when surrounded by hatred. These abilities seem impossible to people who depend entirely on external circumstances for their emotional state. The depth of your self-knowledge has made you immune to the kind of psychological manipulation that works on most people. You know your strengths and weaknesses too well to be gaslighted. You understand your patterns too clearly to be confused by others' projections. You're too grounded in your own truth to be swayed by others' opinions. This level of self-awareness and spiritual development is rare, and it automatically separates you from people who haven't done similar work. You can't fake this kind of inner development, and you can't achieve it without genuine commitment to growth. The very thing they wanted to happen to you is happening to them instead. They wanted your credibility destroyed, but their own credibility is evaporating as people realize their obsession with you is unhealthy. They wanted people to turn against you, but people are starting to question why they're so focused on bringing you down. Their campaign against you has revealed more about their character than yours. Their inability to let go and move on with their own lives has become obvious to anyone paying attention. Their words carry no weight because their motivations are transparent. Meanwhile, nothing they've said or done has slowed your progress even slightly. You haven't been knocked off your path or deterred from your purpose. If anything, their opposition has strengthened your resolve and clarified your mission. You're succeeding despite their best efforts to prevent it, and that success is the most powerful response you could possibly give. The justice manifesting in this situation is perfect in its precision. They're experiencing exactly what they tried to create for you. Loss of credibility, social isolation, and the futility of their efforts. The universe is holding up a mirror to their behavior, showing them the consequences of their choices. The contrast between your behavior and theirs has become stark and undeniable. While they've been consumed with tearing you down, you've been focused on building yourself up. While they've been spreading negativity, you've been creating positive change. While they've been stuck in the past, you've been actively creating your future. The universe is preparing to quiet these voices that have been speaking against you. Not through dramatic confrontation, but through natural consequences and divine timing. Their words are losing power. Their influence is diminishing. Their audience is shrinking as people grow tired of their negativity. Some of them are already starting to pull back, sensing that their campaign has run its course. Others are doubling down, not realizing that their intensity only makes them look more unhinged. Either way, their time as the narrators of your story is ending. You don't need to do anything to make this happen. You don't need to defend yourself or fight back. The truth of who you are and what you're creating speaks louder than all their whispers combined. The silence is approaching gradually, but inevitably. Their voices are being drowned out by the chorus of people who actually know you and support your growth. Their criticism is being overshadowed by the evidence of your success and character. Their negativity is being neutralized by the positive energy you consistently put into the world. People are naturally gravitating away from sources of constant negativity. The human spirit instinctively seeks light, hope, and inspiration. Your enemies have become associated with darkness, pessimism, and destruction. This association will ultimately isolate them from the very people they're trying to influence. The silence won't be imposed from outside. It will emerge from within them as they realize their words have lost all power and relevance. They'll gradually understand that continuing to speak against you only diminishes them further. All the seeds you've planted through your inner work, your dedication, your refusal to give up, they're finally ready to produce fruit. This is your harvest season, the time when everything you've invested in yourself starts paying visible dividends. The success coming your way isn't random or undeserved. You've earned every bit of it through patience, persistence, and faith during times when giving up would have been easier. You've maintained your integrity when shortcuts were available. You've chosen growth over comfort repeatedly. Your enemies can't stop this harvest because they didn't plant these seeds. They weren't there during your darkest moments when you chose to keep going. They didn't support you through your healing process. They have no claim on the fruits of labor they never contributed to. The abundance flowing into your life now is the natural result of years of conscious choices, spiritual development, and aligned action. Every difficult lesson you learned, every painful experience you transformed, every moment you chose love over fear, all of it contributed to this harvest. Your enemies are witnessing the manifestation of everything they said would never happen for you. They predicted your failure, but you're experiencing unprecedented success. They expected you to break under pressure, but you've become stronger than ever. They thought their opposition would stop you, but it's only accelerated your growth. The harvest extends beyond material success into every area of your life. You're reaping the rewards of emotional intelligence, spiritual wisdom, and authentic relationships. You're experiencing the fruits of self-love, inner peace, and unshakable confidence. You're enjoying the benefits of clear purpose, aligned action, and divine connection. You're standing at the threshold of a completely new chapter in your life. Everything that happened before, including all the gossip and opposition, was preparation for this moment. You needed to develop thick skin, unshakable confidence, and spiritual strength to handle what's coming next. The people who've been talking about you won't be part of this new chapter unless they drastically change their approach. Your life is moving in directions they can't follow because they lack the spiritual foundation to keep up. The harvest extends beyond material success into every area of your life. You're reaping the rewards of emotional intelligence, spiritual wisdom, and authentic relationships. You're experiencing the fruits of self-love, inner peace, and unshakable confidence. You're enjoying the benefits of clear purpose, aligned action, and divine connection. You're standing at the threshold of a completely new chapter in your life. Everything that happened before, including all the gossip and opposition, was preparation for this moment. You needed to develop thick skin, unshakable confidence, and spiritual strength to handle what's coming next. The people who've been talking about you won't be part of this new chapter unless they drastically change their approach. Your life is moving in directions they can't follow because they lack the spiritual foundation to keep up. This new phase will bring opportunities they never imagined, connections they could never facilitate, and experiences they could never provide. You're entering a realm where their opinions simply don't matter because they have no influence or relevance there. The new chapter opening for you operates by different rules than the old one. Success flows more easily because you're aligned with your purpose. Relationships develop more naturally because you're attracting people who match your energy. Opportunities appear more frequently because you're visible to the right people at the right time. Your enemies won't have access to this new reality because they haven't done the inner work required to operate at this level. They're still playing by old rules in an old game while you've graduated to an entirely different playing field. The contrast between your new life and their current situation will become increasingly apparent. While you're expanding into greater possibilities, they'll remain trapped in the same patterns that created their current dissatisfaction. While you're experiencing exponential growth, they'll continue the slow decline that comes from focusing on others instead of themselves. This is your moment, chosen one. Your time to step fully into the role you were born to play. Your enemy's words are becoming background noise as your true voice emerges stronger and clearer than ever before. You don't need to announce your victory or gloat over their defeat. Your success will speak for itself. Your peace will be evident in how you carry yourself. Your joy will shine through in everything you create and every life you touch. The story they tried to write about you is ending. The story you're writing for yourself is just beginning. And it's going to be more beautiful than anything they ever could have imagined. Your time to shine isn't just about personal success. It's about fulfilling your purpose as a chosen one. You're here to demonstrate what's possible when someone commits fully to their growth and trusts in their divine calling. You're living proof that transformation is real, that purpose is achievable, and that ordinary people can accomplish extraordinary things. The light you're stepping into will illuminate the path for others who are struggling to find their way. Your success will inspire people who have given up on their dreams. Your resilience will encourage those who are facing their own opposition. Your authenticity will give others permission to be themselves. This is why you were chosen, not just to succeed personally, but to serve as a beacon for others who are ready to reclaim their power and step into their purpose. Your enemies unknowingly served this greater plan by providing the resistance necessary to strengthen you for this role. The time for hiding your light is over. The time for minimizing your gifts is past. The time for playing small to make others comfortable has ended. This is your moment to shine with the full brilliance you were born to embody, and nothing your enemies have said or done can dim that light.